Last but not least, I want to do one more event on my application. Many people like to work in Windows Explorer and they like to work with their files, just dragging them and dropping them wherever they need to work with them. In this, I'm going to create an image control that's going to take on the appearance of whatever image is dropped onto my window. So let me close my window. And first off, I'm going to create an image control to receive my event. I'm going to hold down Control and zoom out with the mouse wheel so I can see my entire application. And I can hold down the space bar to pan it so I can see everything better. Now I'm going to go into my asset library, grab an image control, select it, and drag one out. I'm just dropping it in any arbitrary location, but obviously if I were working with a specific user experience, I'd want my image to be in a better location than this. Now I'm going to go to my window itself, and I'm going to add an event handler on the drop event. Drop occurs whenever somebody takes any kind of object and drops it directly onto my window. I'm going to name this Receive Image. So I'm going to add a little bit of code here. Now this code is another one of those gems that you'll find in your project folder. This one is Image Drop Event. So I need to get my data object. And I need to pull the list of files out of that object. Now I want to assign my image's source to the value that I get out of my file list, but since I haven't named my image yet, I can't do anything with it. Let me save over here, switch back over to Blend, and rename that image. Always remember that if you're going to be working with any of your scene elements on your artboard inside your code, they must have a name. They can receive events or something basic, but whenever you're working with them in the code, you've got to make sure you name them. Select my image, rename it, and I'm just going to name it Image with a small I. Let me build to make sure that it shows up over in Visual Studio, and let's add the code to go to this.image.source is a new bitmap image. That one didn't show up, so let me go ahead and resolve that. Of a new URI of file list at 0. Now, if I were doing this in a full application, I'd put some more error checking in here to make sure that the first file that I received is a valid image file and it can be applied to the image and so on, but I just want to show you the concept I'm using here. Let me save this and build it to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. And it did in fact build. Now, I'm going to press F5. My application comes up. I'm going to go to my Pictures folder. And I'm going to drag one of the pictures to my application. When I drag it over, I get the no drop icon, which means that my window isn't going to accept this image. Why is that? In order to allow drag drop, there's one more property you need to set. Let me close that window and switch back over to Blend and catch that property. So now I need to select my window, go to my properties, and the property has something to do with dropping, so let me search and turn on Allow Drop. Now let me press F5, bring my pictures back up, and drag one over. And my image control has taken that file as its source property, and now it's displaying that file. These are just some of the things that you can do with events. I can respond to mouse events, I can respond to keyboard events, which we showed in one of the earlier lessons, and I can even respond to drag-drop events to accept files from my Windows Explorer.